everyone. Today we're going to be talking about karmic relationships. Welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. My name is Charlene Lizette. I am a spiritual teacher here on earth to empower you to step into your true soul purpose, to connect with your truest, most authentic self, and to support you in expanding your consciousness while you're speaking your truth here in this world. I'm so thankful that you're here. If you are new, a massive thank you to you. Hello, hi. I hope you can become a part of our community. If you're returning, thank you so much for coming back and being a part of our High Vibe community. As always, I do need to give gratitude and adoration to my great queen, the Morgan, to whom all my work is devoted to. A couple of weeks ago, over in the community section here on YouTube, I asked you all to ask me your most pressing spiritual questions that you wanted answered. And understanding karmic relationships was one of them. Oftentimes when I work one-on-one with many clients, this question gets asked: why am I having this karmic relationship with them? What is the purpose of the relationship that I have with this individual? Why did this individual come into my life? And this often can happen, especially in situations where potentially you have some type of commitment, some type of romantic or really tightly bonded connection with an individual, whether it's romantic or not, but then there tends to be a falling out of sorts. In order to have a more in-depth and whole understanding of karmic relationships, we must first understand what karma is. So I wanted to read you the exact definition of karma from the Oxford Dictionary. I have my laptop right here to help me out, so I am going to read it word for word so that you can understand what karma is defined as specifically. In Hinduism and Buddhism, the sum of a person's actions in this and previous states of existence viewed as deciding their fate in future existence. Destiny or fate following an effect from cause. Now, when we think about previous existences, we can talk about it from a spiritual sense as previous lives. Karma, in essence, is the idea that if you do one thing, then it creates a ripple effect into this world, right? And so that's why oftentimes people say, you know, you're going to get your karma, or be careful with karma. What goes around comes around. Karmic relationships, in essence, fall into that category because they are relationships that we may have had in previous lives, that we may have had many soul contracts with other individuals, right? Because it takes two people to have a relationship. If you're interested in understanding more about soul contracts, go take a look at this video right here that I created around what a soul contract is and where it begins and where it originates from. So if we think about the idea that we have had multiple existences here on this earth, you, myself, every single one on this universe, in this vast, ginormous universe, has had these different lives, right? Especially if you believe in the idea of reincarnation and our soul coming back to earth time and time again, either to learn new experiences or to understand more about the self or to learn lessons. And this is where karmic relationships come into play. Karmic relationships are a connection that two individuals have where they have decided, either through their soul contract or previous lives, that they will continue to be bonded together, whether in a romantic or platonic sense. Yes, karmic relationships can be romantic. They can also be platonic in nature. They can also be familiar in nature as well. Karmic relationships as a whole have been designed by us to help us in our spiritual journey and in our journey to connecting with our highest self, our most authentic self, our truest self, and they support us in the journey of our consciousness and our enlightenment as well. Now, I've written down here, so I do want to touch base on it, some of the key things that karmic relationships will support us in while we're here in this 3D reality, in this physical reality, the one where, you know, you can feel your skin, you can touch this, etc. Because we have to remember that while we exist in a physical 3D reality, we are also source, we are energy, we are frequency, we are vibration. And that's what makes this world and yourself and your mind and your capabilities so limitless. Don't forget that, okay? If you believe you're limitless, drop it in the comments below. Let me know by writing, I am limitless. That's one of my favorite mantras, and I hope that you will start using it too. All right, so let me explain to you what I believe. Again, different spiritual teachers, different spiritualists, different individuals may have varying opinions on this, and that is perfectly okay because every single one of us here on this earth, whether we are a teacher, a healer, a psychic, or someone who supports us in our spiritual journey has their own belief systems. And it is in the beauty of understanding the depth of every single one that we can understand things from a larger, more vast perspective. In my opinion, karmic relationships are here to help us grow, teach us about ourselves, to help us learn lessons, and also to help us understand and accept that potentially not everyone that we come into contact with or create a relationship here in this world is meant to stay with us forever. The first thing we're going to get into is karmic relationships and how they help us grow. Karmic relationships help us grow because whether or not that relationship is romantic in nature or not, they are helping us to understand who we are. One must understand that the only person that you can control is yourself. Anybody who we come in contact with is experiencing their own reality while you are simultaneously experiencing your own reality. We cannot control other people. We cannot ask other people to see things from a perspective that they're not willing to see. We cannot want to enforce our belief systems, our opinions, our thoughts onto other people. You can only control yourself. And so sometimes we get into these karmic relationships, whether they be friendships, romantic relationships, neighbors, etc., so that we can help ourselves in understanding more about what our own triggers are, okay? About the things that we love about ourselves, maybe about where our insecurities come from, but they are all designed to help us grow because it is in understanding who we are where we grow. I'll give you a quick little example of myself. When I was little, I would always mirror other people. I lacked self-confidence in myself. I didn't know who I was. And so I would join groups of friends and end up mirroring them. None of that felt authentic to me, but I had no idea who I was. While I may have been 18, 19, and so physically my body may have been grown, emotionally and spiritually, I was still learning, I was still evolving, I was still blossoming. I apologize for that dog. Are you done? Thank you. Now, when we think about it this way, right? When I was 18, 19, and I would get into these groups of people and become friends with these individuals, what ended up happening for me is I started to grow and learn who I was. I started to understand, wait a minute, when I'm with these people, I don't really like what they're doing. So why am I surrounding myself with them? Right? So then I would leave that group of people and I would come into another group of people. And then I would learn more and grow more. And in this journey, I helped myself in understanding and growing and blossoming into who I was. I started to develop my own values. I would really encourage you to work on your own values as well. Now, let me know if you want me to do a video on values by dropping a comment down below. Values and having those foundational values in our lives are really important because they help us to create everything that we are experiencing in our day-to-day. I hope that by explaining this, it's helping to provide a perspective and an understanding on how this entire journey that we're in is all about the self and understanding who we are and how we choose to show up in this world. Every single karmic relationship is teaching us about ourselves and how we choose to show up, to react, and to experience those moments. Karmic relationships help us grow, and in that learning of growing and understanding who we are, we're also learning lessons and we're being taught about ourselves. And that takes me to the second point about karmic relationships, is that they teach us about ourselves. If I take you back to the example where I was surrounding myself with individuals who I wasn't necessarily enjoying my time with, in those moments, while I was growing and developing, I was also learning who I was. And it takes me back to the example about those core values. And that's why I encourage people so much, especially my one-on-one students, to really get focused and work on having those core values in their life because they are instrumental and part of the foundation so you can have a healthy life and so you could surround yourself with everything that you want. Oftentimes, however, we must learn these lessons. We must learn who we are. We will eventually learn what we like or what we dislike through these karmic relationships because they teach us about ourselves. Let me use the example of the romantic connection and the individual who has a value of living an active lifestyle, but yet could be with somebody who has a very sedentary lifestyle. In that karmic relationship, the individual who wants to have a very active lifestyle, who is growing to understand that one of their core values is an active lifestyle, has to learn and grow through that karmic romantic relationship that they potentially cannot be with somebody who has a sedentary lifestyle because the values don't align. And so that karmic relationship was put into this individual's life to help them learn, to help them grow, and to teach them about themselves. Because when we get into romantic relationships, it's very easy to stay complacent, to stay in it because it's comfortable, it's what we know, it's what we're used to. But part of growth, part of the spiritual journey, part of living a very conscious lifestyle means that we must get comfortable with the uncomfortable. We must surrender and lean into the unknown. Right? Those could be examples of a dark night of the soul, a spiritual awakening, and you can watch videos over on my YouTube channel in regards to that if it's a topic that interests you. So in this particular case, that individual who wants to have the value and is deciding to live by one of the core values of an active lifestyle, they have to learn about themselves and find their own strength so that they can release and let go of that karmic relationship with the individual who has a sedentary lifestyle. So I hope so far you're following along and you're seeing how karmic relationships teach us about ourselves, as that latest example, help us grow, right? Because we're evolving and growing as we're experiencing individual karmic relationships, like I said, whether they be romantic or not. Now let's get on to the third lesson that karmic relationships teach us, and that is that we learn lessons. How many times have you interacted with somebody and found yourself in that same particular situation, almost like you get on that hamster wheel and you're like, why do I always have the same experiences with the same people over and over and over again? Or why do I always get into relationships, romantic ones, with individuals who are very similar? Or why do I always have friends who always end up betraying me? Right? When we start to understand that we are in complete control of our own reality and the experiences that we have day to day with individuals, we start to understand that it is us, the self, you, yourself, that gets to choose every moment, every reaction, every experience, every learning lesson that you are going through on a day-to-day basis. And so in karmic relationships, we learn lessons. And oftentimes we will continue to face the same challenges over and over and over again until we learn the lesson. And what that lesson is all about is helping us to learn about ourselves, teaching us about the self, and also teaching us through the process of growth. And so in a karmic relationship, we often learn lessons, whether they be lessons of self-confidence, self-love, standing in our truth, being assertive, speaking with integrity, honesty, and also could be about creating boundaries. There's so many experiences or lessons that could be learned through karmic relationships. But karmic relationships will continue to come into our lives until we learn a particular lesson about those situations that we are continuously attracting. So let me give you an example of an individual who always attracts a partner who is unfaithful. That particular person will continue to interact and get into karmic relationships with various individuals that they have soul contracts with, and they will continue to experience unfaithful relationships or unfaithful partners until they learn the lesson about themselves, until they start to understand who they are, until they start to teach themselves about their core values, about their morals, their ethics, and so that they can grow and evolve and stop attracting the same thing over and over again in relationships. In this particular situation, someone who is unfaithful. The fourth lesson, the final lesson that I believe karmic relationships are placed into our life for, are to help us accept and understand that while some relationships we have with people may last a lifetime, Others may last a moment, and others may be for a specific period of time so that they can support us in our own growth and our own evolution. So in these karmic relationships, we are taught to understand when it is time to be able to let go, and to also accept and embrace that while we may have those hot, steamy relationships with some people, it doesn't mean that those people are going to be with us forever. And that it is okay to thank them for the journey that you had together, right? For the roller coaster ride that you may have had together, depending on the kind of relationship that it was. While simultaneously knowing that there doesn't need to be anger, resentment, frustration, bitterness towards them when it's time for that relationship to come to an end, because now you both have to go on your own individual journeys. So those are the 4 reasons karmic relationships exist in our life. 1, they help us to learn about ourselves. They teach us lessons, we grow, and we also embrace the understanding that not every connection that we have with a karmic relationship or relationships in general is meant to be in our lives forever. And that it is okay to surrender and to embrace and understand that some connections are meant to only exist for a certain period of time. I hope that this video is helpful for you. I hope that this gave you a more thorough and better understanding of karmic relationships and why they might be showing up in your life, and maybe also how to be able to embrace the idea of surrendering and letting go of these karmic relationships when they are no longer serving you for your highest good. Remember, the journey of spirituality is all about learning. It's all about discovery. It's all about practicing consciousness more and more every day. And that, in essence, is the journey of enlightenment and of spirituality and of aligning with your truest, most authentic, highest self. I hope this video was helpful for you. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for your likes, your comments, your subscribes. I'm so eternally grateful for all of you. We'll see you on the next video. See you later, alligator. Peace out. Bye.